why this recording is like all delayed. I'm not sure if it's going to end up this way, but there's a frame rate issue. Anyway, can we see now? Can we accept that the mind is like ChatGPT? Now that we have this thing, now that we have this external version that we're looking at and we're interacting with, and we're going, oh my gosh, this thing that has all this information and all this knowledge, and it's so smart, but it doesn't actually know anything. It doesn't know anything. That is the mind. That's the mind. That is the mind in a computer, baby. That is the externalized version of everything exactly that is going on in here all the time. That is the mind. It doesn't know what's going on. It has no awareness. It has no awareness. It has all of this input. You can feed it all of this data. Yeah, it's measuring. It's taking measurements all of the time with the senses, but it doesn't know what any of that means. It has no framework. Why does any of this mean anything to me? What the fuck is a temperature? What the fuck? It's all just made up. It's all just... It sounds really smart. It sounds like it knows what it's talking about because it's absorbed thousands and thousands upon thousands of hours of data, all of this data, all of this information that it's taken in, right? And that it has to source from and pull from and talk about, this is what I think. It's all just rehashed, regurgitated opinion. It's just, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't fucking mean anything. Would you listen to ChatGPT? Please, if you are someone who is listening to ChatGPT, I'm willing to bet anyone watching this video is not. But just see the similarity. There's no awareness there. There's all of this information. It sounds so convincing. So convincing. It operates exactly the same way as the mind. It doesn't know really what's going on. It doesn't know what you're asking. It feels that you have a feeling of, huh? And it tries to fill in that gap so that you end that feeling, so that this space of uncertainty in you is filled, or really just plastered over, because you can't really fill it. And actually, that space is you. Actually, the mind is trying to plaster over you all the time. Why do you think it's constantly talking? Why do you think it's constantly telling you how things are, what to think, what you think? It doesn't feel anything. There's no feeling there. It doesn't even have any intention. It's just regurgitating. It's not malicious, and it's not helpful. It's neither. It just like ChatGPT. It's not trying to do anything other than satisfy this sort of space that is created when there's a request, when you have a question, when the feeling of uncertainty opens up within you and there is a question. All ChatGPT knows is answer the question until the question goes away. Make that go away, actually. That's actually like baseline a problem, essentially. You have presented it with the problem of having a question. It doesn't have an answer. It just has a pile of words and data, right, that it can detect patterns between. And so it's connecting these dots, seeing these patterns, and then spitting something out, and just doing that repeatedly until you go away. Go away with your question, with your uncertainty. Cover this feeling up. That is what the mind is doing all of the time. You feel uncertain, and the mind comes up with something to fill in, to cover over that feeling of uncertainty, which actually is you. There's you, your essence is there in the space, in the question that has not been answered. Do you know that's where all potential arises? In the unanswered, in sitting in the space of uncertainty. All potential arises from there. If you don't just let that, if you don't fill it in with the crap that the mind spits back out at you, which is only ever regurgitated content, because guess what? The mind is being trained on the existing library of information, right? So nothing new can come from it. It cannot generate anything new. It's not capable of that. It can rehash and change the formation of things and make it appear new. It's not new. It's never new. But you know where truly new is allowed to come in is if you sit in the space of uncertainty. If you feel the question, you feel the feeling of question, the feeling of uncertainty, the feeling of vulnerability, of not knowing, and you stay with the feeling, and you don't look to fill what feels like a space with an answer, with a direction, with a next step, with a conclusion, with anything. You just don't fill in. That is what enables and allows new to arise. Never before seen, never before imagined, never before dreamed. Whatever, stuff, all kinds of form, which can include thoughts, but it's a different feeling receiving a new sort of thought from that space than it is to have crammed into you a new version of an old one. It feels curious. It feels open-ended. There's not a sense of like finitude there. It feels like an expanse that exists and could be explored, but hasn't yet. It feels like invitation. It feels like an unfinished something. Whereas a thought that is cramming in feels like completion, like an ending, like a full stop, like this is it, like dead end of the road, hallway, whatever, just dead, regurgitated. We've seen this before. This is what it is. It's the same old thing. You can feel the staleness of it. In fact, it feels dead. It feels stale. It feels not alive. And there's a sickening quality to it. Right now, I think it's important, and I even hesitate to use that word, but this is coming through for a reason. To stay in the space of uncertainty, to stay in the space of insecurity, to stay in the space of feeling. What is it that you feel? Not what you think. Don't move into what you think. You don't actually think anything. Thoughts happen, thoughts arise, and they float through. You're not thinking them. You don't actually have an opinion, but you do have preference. Stay in the space of what are you feeling? What does this feel like? Does it feel open or closed? Does it feel like hurt? If you feel hurt, stay there. Stay with hurt. That is so important right now. It doesn't fucking matter what people think. Nobody actually thinks anything, and it's totally irrelevant. What's happening is happening. And what's happening, what is most real, I'm interested in talking about the truth. I'm interested in what is actually true. And what's true is what is happening. What's being felt. That's real. So what are you feeling? Are you hurting? Because I am. I am feeling hurt. I am feeling hurt. That's what's happening. And there's really not a conversation to be had about this because this is an experience. This is shared experience. This is where we get real. We're experiencing. This is real. This is happening. The thought stuff, that's all made up. That's a distraction actually from feeling, and the feeling is real. The feeling is experienced right now. The feeling is what is happening right now. What are you feeling? Are you hurting? Are you feeling hurt? Stay there. You can say, I don't like it. You can say that. But recognize that if you step into the place of I don't want it, feel, please, right now, feel in yourself the difference in the feeling of these two statements. I don't like it. 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 It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. Can you feel that? Okay, now feel, I don't want it. Get it away from me. Make it stop. I don't want it. Can you feel how the first one has a sort of purity to it? It's not a position. A statement, a genuine statement of I feel hurt, and it hurts, and I don't think I like it, or I don't like it. It's hard. It hurts. There's no accusation there. There's no projection there. There's no blame. There's not a story being told. That is the objective truth. That's truth. I'm experiencing this. It hurts. It hurts. That's not a position. That's just a truth. That's just a reality of experience. But to shift into, I don't want this, can you feel now how that is like this solidifying now? Now there's like an angling against in that statement. We've moved from this open, honest space that is just here, honestly, objectively experiencing and expressing that experience, into actually a subjective place. Because it's a position. We've taken a position against what is. We've moved from stating what is to positioning against what is. With just that statement, I don't want this. Or this shouldn't be happening. Or people should this, or people shouldn't that. All of the shoulds and shouldn'ts. That's positioning. When you step into position, you create an opposite position. Position creates opposition. They go together. You actually create duality. You create polarity is a better word for it, actually. You create a polarization by taking a position, which it's not even you doing that. It's the mind creates the illusion of the hill, and you follow it there and take up the defensive stance on the hill. And it feels really so shitty because it's not what you genuinely are experiencing. You don't actually have opinions. You have feelings. You have feelings. You don't actually think about things. You just experience and feel. And you might make a direct statement like, this hurts, or I like feeling secure, I like feeling this, or I don't know if I like feeling this, this feels scary, this feels scary. Those are truths. That's where you are all the time. You are centered always in feeling what is actually objectively present in this moment. You're focused on truth. You're focused on what's real. That's really why it hurts to depart. To follow the mind into a position, to take a stance against. That's the first discomfort of it. And then you're tangled in the resistance of that, and you're exhausted. You're exhausted because you're not standing where you are. Try to notice if opinion takes over, if it pulls you into a position, if you start angling against, if you have taken a stance on something, if you've made something an issue rather than an experience. Because one is real, one is true, one is genuine, and there's expansion there. There's reality there. The other one is made up. And there's really nothing to do with that. In fact, you pretty much just guarantee that you're going to keep regurgitating because of your taking a position. You have now created a polarity with what you are angled against, and you have quite literally magnetized it to you. Whereas in the space of neutrality, there is no magnetization. There is no polarization. Everything is just moving through. Preference isn't polarized because you're not pushing or pulling. You're not doing anything there. You're receiving and saying what it is, what I feel. This is just the truth. This feels painful. This hurts. There's sadness. There are tears coming through me. This feels joyful. This feels free. This gladdens me. This, I like this. You don't even really have to use the like and dislike, but I feel like it's okay. I've been experimenting with this in myself, preference prior to opinion, allowing myself to express preference. Like, I like feeling well. I like feeling energy in my body. Not feeling energy in my body can be hard. I don't know that I necessarily dislike it because it actually highlights how much I enjoy feeling energy in my body. But it is challenging. It does hurt. I feel scared and sad. And really, there's just this hurting there. It keeps coming back to that. But I don't have to say anything else. I don't need to say anything else. Just staying with the feeling. But as soon as the thought comes that tries to create a stance out of that feeling, to make an opinion out of that experience, I feel like shit. I feel compressed. I'm being compressed into a tiny, tight, limited, rigid, like carapace of a space is what it feels like. And I can't stomach it. I just can't take it. It makes me feel nauseous. It feels closed. There's almost a claustrophobia there. Yeah, it's just not nice. So then I can say something like, this doesn't feel nice, and I'm right back in the space of objective feeling, of honestly feeling, staying with the feeling, expressing what I'm feeling, which is telling the truth. This is the only truth I can tell. I don't know anything other than this. I'm feeling. That's all I can talk about. That's all I can speak as an expert on. I'm feeling. Here's what I'm feeling. Here's me being. I am. There's really not that much to say here, but in my direct experiencing of it, I know that it sort of pulls other people, points of consciousness, into the space of being themselves. It's time for us to be ourselves. It's time for us to get real about being, about feeling, which means no more of the thoughts and opinions. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're wrong. I don't know that they'll go away. I don't think they need to go away. Again, that would be a thought. It doesn't feel like that's a thing that needs to happen. I don't care about them. They're not a problem. But when I go into them and I inhabit them as like that's me, I don't feel good, and I don't like that feeling. So I'm going to follow the feelings that I like to feel, which really are open. It just means openly feeling. Openly feeling what's here, openly expressing what's here. Lying about it by stepping into just the space of narrative, it's just not conducive to my feeling openly. It's just not. So So I'm trying to just not do that. I don't really want to do that. Yeah. Anyway, shit's pretty wild. It's time to feel. It's time to look at what's happening. And that doesn't mean the story. That means the feeling. That means the experience. You want to look at what's happening. What are you feeling right now? What is the feeling? It doesn't have to have a name. But if words come. Just feel it, because this is what's real. And as we collectively turn towards reality, towards truth, towards feeling what's actually happening, things begin to shift. We were never doing anything. We were never changing anything by our power and our resistance and your willingness to face reality allows everything to shift. It allows everything to move through, everything that we have held onto and that we keep repeating because we don't face the feeling of it. But as we do, it moves. It moves. Things move. Forms change. This is the work. This is the effort. It's not even really that. But it does take intention to experience what you're feeling. You do it on purpose. You can't accidentally focus into feeling. You can't accidentally choose to stay in the pure, true reality of what you are feeling in this moment. We have habitually acclimated to this suction away from there. I believe that as we practice this, it becomes more natural, yes, but it always takes a conscious choice. It can never be a totally automatic thing, because that would be unconscious then. And this is the development of purposeful awareness, intentional consciousness. I don't know how to phrase this, but to choose being on purpose, to choose feeling your being, because you can't stop being, to choose awareness of your being. And awareness of your being is most essentially you. That's where you are. That is you. You are. And you are feeling. So it's time for us to stand where we are, to be here. What's your position? It's here. That's your position. What's your stance on this issue? My stance is here. Feeling. That's where I am. And that's it. That's it. I love you all. Anyone who happens to be here, I know it's a small group. But this is it. This is the thing. It's not trying to make a difference. It's just choosing to be real. And in choosing to be real, a difference is made. That's it. It's an energetic shift. In choosing to be real, in choosing to get real with what you're feeling right now. The energy, it begins to change. And that's not the purpose of it. It's not the goal. It's just what happens. The goal ultimately is to feel because it's the only thing that feels good. Because feeling openly is the only thing that feels good. So that's it. It's just that there's nowhere else to go. There's nothing else to do. Everyone ultimately, I do believe, comes back to this. We have this interest in what's actually true. We want to know what's true. And we peel apart the layers of what that even means over and over and over until we get to this place that says and sees there is only one objective true statement that I can make with certainty, and that is I am. I know that I am because I am. I'm being. And so then I could extend that to everything is, because, well, there it is. It's being. And the mind starts to rest. When it sees this, when it finally has a ground of truth, it can rest. And you feel at rest here. The ground of being, the bedrock, whatever you want to call it. And ultimately, as many times as the mind departs from here, it keeps coming back because this is home. This is where you are. Here. You're always here. You are always here. And then there's just opening. What's here? What's here? Here's where I am. Here is where I can sense things. If I want to know anything, then I'm going to know it here because here is where I am. This is the only place I can experience. So what's here? What is here for me to experience? And then we open to what's actually here, which is feeling. It's always feeling. There is no other experiencing but by feeling. And then you realize that it feels good to feel. And it's a good that is beyond good and bad. It's hard to explain feeling good and feeling bad, and I see now why I struggled with these words and why other people have struggled with these words. But I don't know how else to describe it. It just, this feels the nicest. It feels like me. It feels real and genuine and present and alive and authentic. And it just feels good. I like it. I like this feeling. The feeling of being here. The feeling of being. The feeling of feeling what's here. And anything that feels like it's other than that, the thought and opinion and the stance that takes me out of that, it begins to, I literally cannot stomach it. It begins to physically affect me. I feel nauseous. I start to sweat. I feel agitated. It's like eating something that doesn't sit right with me. Eating something that's making me sick. And so there's no judgment there. It's just like, again, it's like a systemic rejection of that this body goes, we can't process that. That's not for us. That's not for us. We can't process it. So just like get that out. Get out of that. That's increasingly what it feels like to step away from knowing the objective truth. I am. Everything is. And what's real. What I'm feeling. What am I feeling? And I'm more and more interested in just what other people are feeling. What are you feeling? I don't give a goddamn what you think. You don't think anything. What you think is irrelevant. It's happening. You're feeling. That's real. That's the truth. Tell me what's true. Share your real experience with me so that we can be real together and connect. Oh my God, you know what it's like to connect with a person who is feeling. You're on that it's the same wavelength, but it's just it's like the ground. You're like on the same ground. You're standing suddenly in the same environment going, oh my God, I'm here, you're here, I'm feeling, you're feeling. And that's it. To be in that pure space is like, it's magic. So whatever. I know I departed from, I went on a tangent there. I got to do some other shit. I love you. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Take it easy.